Marvel's The Avengers is...
So, I see what you're doing.
Marvel's The Avengers is directed by Joss Whedon, and it's the 6th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And this movie stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
Chris Hemsworth, and Tom Hiddleston. You know, man, I hope we can, whenever Avengers Infinity War comes out, I don't know how to do this, and I can't memorize these actors. And after Loki steals a Tesseract from S.H.I.E.L.D., decides that he wants to take over the Earth, Nick Fury decides to defeat him. He must bring together the superheroes from the previous films, Iron Man, Hulk, Hulk, Iron Man,
Unless you're saying on Mouth Back Forward.
Iron Man.
Technically Captain America.
I always
Iron Man,
Hulk, Black Widow, Captain America, and Thor.
Oh, Brennan, he's already forgetting Hawkeye.
Oh, Hawkeye.
Just like the producers of Infinity War.
Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, Captain America, Thor, and Hawkeye, creating the Avengers.
Brennan, can you please make him stop? Okay. You're the one who keeps saying you have to hurry.
I know, right?
And you're the one who keeps getting sidetracked.
So anyways, guys, we are trying very hard to review as many of the MCU movies as we possibly can. We've already reviewed quite a bit. We will not get to every single one of them before Avengers Infinity War, but we're at least trying to get some of the main ones before them. But at least we do have the next Avengers movie after this one. So that'll be good to just fill up and do all the MCU movies that we possibly can.
As far as the Avengers, the first Avengers movie goes, I actually think it was very well put together, considering this is one of like the first movies to ever try to do something like this, bring together a cinematic universe. I mean, now you have a bunch of companies trying to copy it, but it was very well made.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about this movie is a lot of times you have movies nowadays where they try to set up for sequels, they try to set up for universes, and obviously, you know, Avengers is trying to set up for a universe. It is a universe. That's the whole point of the movie. But I feel like there's certain parts of this movie that try to set up like Civil War, and they try to set up Infinity War, but they don't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily feel like it. You watch it and you know that's what they're doing, but they don't say, it's not like one of those movies like, hey, this is what we're doing, you know, hey, we're setting up for this, hey, we're setting up for this. It's just things that happen that you know, if you know about the comics, you know it's going to grow into that. But if you don't know about the comics, it'll be a surprise to you later on.
I felt like the pacing was very well, because like you have like six major characters, and then Nick Fury, and then all the side characters for each of those characters. Well, except for Jane Thor, I sort of forgot about her. Yeah. But they have to bring all these people together and have a reason for them to come together and have each character have the same amount of screen time, well, about the same.
And one thing I do want to bring up, but just about Marvel in general when it comes to this movie, is they're very smart when it comes to writing, because like DC, I don't love all of the movies, and I really hated Justice League. And the one thing about Justice League that I felt like it really did poorly on was the fact that they try to keep up with Marvel, try to catch up with them when they really should have done their own thing. Because what Marvel did was they did it slowly. They didn't just like introduce like 2 characters and then introduce the rest of the characters in Avengers. You know, right. They had a character for almost every movie. They had a movie for almost every character, and other than like Black Widow, but she was in Iron Man 2, and Hawkeye, he was a tiny bit in Thor. I wouldn't really put him and say that he had any development in that one, but that's the only character they really had to develop in Avengers, because the rest of them you already pretty much get to know them beforehand.
And there's a lot of nerdy fan moments, like how Hulk can't pick up Thor's hammer, or how Thor's hammer can't break Captain America's shield. There's just like little tidbits throughout the movie, just for like fans. But it was cool to see, especially the fights. Yeah, and
especially also whenever it comes to nerdy stuff like that, a lot of movies will try to kind of ham in the movie like really bad, where they're just like making sure that it's very like serving to the audience serving, you know, so they try to make sure the audience is happy. They try to fit all this stuff in there, and it kind of becomes like kind of forced, you know. But with this, it's kind of just like little things, like little tidbits of things that they kind of just mix in with the movie. It's all mixed in really well. And I guess when it comes down to some of the best parts of the movie, it comes down to the basics of acting. And so the acting is really good in this movie. I feel like, you know, when it comes to all these movies, the casting is pretty perfect. And even when it comes to Mark Ruffalo, which I love the thing about Mark Ruffalo, because, you know, you had Edward Norton, who played Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk, and which I liked him as Bruce Banner, but then they put in Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
And I remember whenever Avengers was coming out, a lot of people didn't like Mark Ruffalo playing in this movie because Mark Ruffalo is known for a lot of like kind of like girly movies, kind of chick flicks. Heaven. Yeah, just like stuff like chick flicks and stuff like that. And so people didn't like the idea of Mark Ruffalo playing in this movie as a whole. But whenever he was on the screen, he really just put all those haters to shame because he does like fantastic in this movie. He really does play like a very smart scientist really well. Kind of the scientist who's trying to keep quiet, you know, who Bruce Banner is. He plays it really well.
There were a lot of character moments I actually liked. It was an ensemble movie, but it still had time to take care of their individual characters and have each of their moments.
Now, even though this movie is pretty good overall, it does have its fair share of issues. I did have a lot of complaints about this movie, and one of my biggest complaints, which not as bad as I thought Captain America was, but I felt like a lot of the movie didn't feel real, especially the beginning. I felt like the beginning was very forced. It almost felt like they had written, it almost felt like they didn't write the beginning first. Like they knew what was going to happen, so they wrote everything afterwards. But the very beginning, whenever Loki is stealing the Tesseract, that scene just felt kind of forced. It didn't feel right at all. It felt kind of weird. And all through the entire movie, there's these little certain things. They just felt really scripted. It felt a lot more scripted than some of the other movies, the previous movies other than Captain America.
I can't remember if it was this movie or Captain America: The First Avenger. That was the first movie that was made and released by Disney. But like I said in our Iron Man review, I sort of think that Disney sort of, not really ruined, but sort of dampened the quality of the movies because of all the forced comedy that's in the movies. This one, The Avengers, isn't as bad as the future movies have been, but it's still like the beginning. It's like little seeds for this forced comedy that they try to stick in there.
Yeah, because the comedy isn't like bad in this movie. It's not even like cringy. It's actually some parts. It's actually funny. It's actually decently funny. It's just that, like you said, the jokes always feel scripted. They always feel fake. They always feel like the wrong characters are saying jokes at the wrong time.
I care how you speak. Loki is beyond reason, but he is of Asgard, and he is my brother.
He killed 80 people in 2 days.
He's adopted.
The only character I feel like should be like spitting out jokes a lot in this movie is like Tony Stark, you know, Iron Man. And the rest of the characters, like I like the comedy that was done by Steve Rogers. I felt like his comedy mainly came from kind of being naive about the world around him because he doesn't really know about this world yet because he came back from the 40s.
Monkeys. I do not understand.
I do. I understood that reference.
So his jokes I was fine with, but when it came to like Thor's joke, especially one of his main jokes,
he's adopted.
I didn't really appreciate it a whole bunch. I felt like Thor shouldn't be telling jokes all that much. Most of his jokes, like in the first Thor, I loved his jokes in the first Thor because his jokes weren't jokes from him. There were just things that he did that are kind of surprising to us as we see what the real world is. And other than that line from Thor, there is some dialogue that doesn't always work, like this one from Hulk.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
I feel like that line doesn't make a lot of sense, like at all, considering he had just turned into Hulk just about 30 minutes or so before, and so I feel like he doesn't control it very well as much as he thinks he does. So I guess that's one of my biggest complaints about that line, and also it's just kind of a stupid line, and it doesn't feel right at all.
And while I did like this scene that I'm about to bring up, I felt like Coulson's death in this movie was just sort of forced in there so that the Avengers name makes sense, so that they have something to avenge. But I felt like it was just forced in there. And also, I didn't really feel like it, I mean, it's not really that big of a point, but I feel like it was sort of unnecessary for Nick Fury to be the one to rub the blood all over Coulson's cards. I feel like it's sort of disrespectful in a sense to be rubbing his valuable cards all over his blood and all that.
And let's go ahead and talk about probably the worst thing about this movie. It's like the stupidest thing in this entire movie. So whenever they're in the final battle, right? New York is being attacked by all these aliens, and Shield. Well, not Nick Fury. Nick Fury decides that he doesn't want it to happen, but Shield decides to nuke New York City. And I feel like that's one of the stupidest ideas I've seen in a movie. All it is one of those things of like trying to get the part of the Avengers to fight against the man, and everything works out and makes these other people look stupid, But in reality, why in the world would they nuke New York City? Why on Earth?
And also, it is sort of weird. I know you have to have the Avengers be the one to fight the aliens, but it's sort of weird how like there's like no army or anything. I mean, there's a couple of, like cops like fighting, but there's like no army. Like
yeah, that's true. That's true. And there's a lot of things about the final battle I didn't like. Overall, the final battle was cool, but it does bring up some of the biggest issues in the entire movie. Like also, like whenever Iron Man he decides to grab the nuke and put it in the portal. And I'm not, he might have not known that the ship was there. If he did, that's a little weird. If he knew where exactly the ship was, I'm not saying he knew where the ship was, so who knows? But he did put it up there, and it hits and explodes the ship. And for some reason, they don't explain any of this. The ship explodes, and all the aliens on Earth die. And so I guess there's some kind of connection that kills all these aliens, but they don't really explain it. It just feels weird.
The robot aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, the robot aliens. So basically, that end fight scene is one of my biggest issues with this entire movie. Overall, it's fun to watch, but if you really take a look at it, it really is kind of stupid sometimes. But guys, overall, this movie is really good. If you haven't seen this movie and you are planning on seeing like other MCU movies, I would recommend it. Overall, it's really good, but it does have plenty of issues. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that Marvel's The Avengers is 84% awesome.
Even when I first saw this movie, I did feel a little sense of disappointment, and I still do every time I watch it. But at the same time, it's still a movie that I can watch over and over again. It's still a well put together movie. So I'm gonna say that Marvel's The Avengers is 85% awesome.
So guys, we're going to try our best to get out a review for Avengers Age of Ultron. We're not positive we're going to be able to before Infinity War, but we're going to try. But if we don't, at least we have a little bit more time for the next Avengers movie. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Also, you can click the notification button if you like this video enough. If you don't like us at all, just subscribe, whatever. But if you want to, you can go in and comment below and let us know what you thought about the Avengers. Maybe tell us, where your ranking would be for all throughout the MCU.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2AwesomeMen.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.